Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lush Angela. You know what you need to do? You need to make sure that you've subscribed, put your notifications on so that you can tune in every Wednesday for videos like this. So today's a really special one, and this video actually will come out on the day of Menstrual Hygiene Day, which is the 28th of May, and it's in dedication to that, and it's actually about my first period. And the reason why, before I tell you my story, is the reason why I've chosen to talk about this is because we need to break the taboo of it being a taboo to have my period and to talk about it, because there are people who freely can't do certain things when they're on their periods in certain cultures, in certain countries, and it is 2019. Like, how ridiculous is that? We are in the 21st century and there's still some area in this world that don't have access to menstrual products, don't know what to do when they are on their periods. There are people who miss work, there are people who miss school because they do not have the preventative measures that will stop them from leaking, and they can go on about their day. And I feel like this is a topic that we need to bring light to. And I'm really excited to know that this year a film called, a film about periods, inspired with an idea, a concept called the Pad Project, won an Oscar. A short film documentary won an Oscar, and it was talking about periods and a certain tribe of women in India who don't have access to pads, or like pads are too expensive. And so they've been producing their own pads, biodegradable pads. They got the machine and have been able to make a living out of it, and also sell the pads so that it's affordable for those in that community. And it's great that things like this are happening, and it's great to see that there's some positivity coming out of what is a normal situation. So a bit about my first period, and a bit about what my first period, or rather period in general, has taught me. So I got my period at around the age of 12, I think, yeah, around 12. But I'll backtrack a bit. So maybe about a year and a half before that, that's when I was living in Kenya. My primary school at the time, shout out to HHS crew, they were really good. They got all the girls in the main hall, and they talked to us about periods and how to count your cycle, and they talked to us about, you know, what it means to have your periods, you know, all of that. I'll be honest, at that point in my life, I didn't really quite grasp what they were talking about, and didn't really comprehend and understand. But what I remember is them saying that if I don't get my period around the age of 15, 16, then I'll need to see a doctor, because it will mean that later on I might not be able to have children. And that really like stuck with me, because I've always seen myself as a mother in the future. So I remember going home after and asking my mum, oh, what does counting 28 days mean? Why do I get my periods? And she was really good, and she schooled me, and I was like, ah, okay, cool. It didn't really bother me, because I just thought it was gonna happen to me one day in my life, and I forgot about it. So fast forward, moved to UK, we're settling in, probably like second month in the UK, second or third month, and I was home with my baby sister and my dad, and my mum was at work. So I've gone to the toilet, and then I notice a discharge, and then I notice some drops, and I'm like, oh my God, my periods are finally here. Like, so I was just like going crazy, and I couldn't call my mom because she was at work, and I didn't have a mobile phone, and I didn't know. I was like, how am I gonna tell my dad? I didn't know where she put the pads in the house. So I gathered up the courage, and then I went and talked to my dad, and I was like, oh Dad, we have a little bit of a situation. My periods have started, and I need to get pads. And my dad was amazing. He was so good. He actually took me to the shops, showed me where to go get the pads. I got what I felt were the right things to get, and I bought them. And I remember going back now to what I'd learned in school, how to use a pad and what have you, and I followed the instructions on the cover of the pad. And yeah, and that's how my first period. And I just want to say, it was so good to know that it happened with my dad, and my dad was he didn't shame me. He didn't like want to avoid that conversation. He didn't send me to the shop on my own. He actually went with me. And I would encourage that if you're a father, if you're a brother, and you have females around you, that you come to understand what periods mean, so that if you are around someone who's young and is maturing and that happens when you're with them, you know how to deal with it. Because it's a very at that point in your life, when periods come, you're still getting to know your body. All of a sudden you've woken up and you have boobs, and your body's changing, and there's all this like struggle around you trying to adjust to your changes. Boys are noticing you more, and so if you get shamed and feel embarrassed, or made to feel embarrassed for what is a natural thing to happen, it can really kind of change how you go through life. And honestly, I love my dad so much, and he made me feel it's okay, it's a normal thing. And I actually didn't even bother. And so when my mum came, I was like, oh, by the way, my periods have started. And she was the one panicking. I was like, no, we're good. You know, dad took me to get pads and all is fine. And that's what has made me realize, by looking through and researching on the struggles that people go through in other parts of the world. There are people who are using banana leaves as a sort of pad. There are people who are using cloth. There are people who are using cotton, like getting cotton and just stuffing it and, you know, put it in on their knickers, and hopefully it will like hold. And it's so sad. And there's people who don't even, in fact, in the film that won the Oscar, the Indian women some of them don't know what a pad is. They've never heard of such a thing. And I feel so privileged, and I feel so lucky that that was never my case. And one thing my period has made me appreciate is that my body is behaving normally. It's actually a normal thing to have periods. If you do not have periods, it means that something's not right, and it actually means that you will not have children, or your chances, definitely your chances of not having children. If you never get periods, you'll never be able to have children, and that's why we have people called barren. And knowing that I get my period, and knowing that my body can produce what it's supposed to, gives me some sort of confidence and makes me feel I'm okay. And if your periods are happening too frequently, then you do need to see a doctor, because then it means something's wrong. But having my periods has made me feel confident in knowing that I am a woman. I feel whole and I feel complete. And I want us to break the views of it being a taboo. It's not a shameful thing for a woman to have her period. It's a good thing. It means that their body has matured. And me and my friends came together, and we started a community called Sister Speaks. And in honor of today, we want to start a movement called Heels for Pads. So we have loads of heels in our closets that we want to give away, and we want to give it away. In return, all we ask is you give us pads, and we're gonna donate these pads to 3 organizations that we've decided to support on this occasion. One's an orphanage, one's a school, and one's an organization that supports victims of incest. And there's people who don't have access to pads. And if we can help change in any little way possible, honestly, that for us is an achievement on its own. And just also change and making someone who can't afford a pad know that they'll be okay for the next month. And that's why I love organizations like Days for Girls. I love organizations like Real Relief and the Pad Project, which is mentioned in the movie. And they are trying to help communities have access to pads that are more affordable and can make life a bit more easier, and they can go through the day without feeling ashamed or embarrassed. And I will end it with this. I am a woman and I'm here to stay. And I'm God created me because he felt there was a need to have a woman in the world. So if you're a woman watching this, just know that you are, I said it in a previous video, you're a miracle in motion, and you matter. You're a gift to the world. So own it and feel like it. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to tune in every Wednesday for videos like this. Take care and have a great day wherever you are. Bye. Mwah.